There we have it. All 204 cards have been revealed for Ursula's return, along with Enchanted Cards, promo cards, and Set Championship promo card. Let's take a look at them together. What's up, Illumineers? Charlie and Matthias here, and we have news hot off the presses from a Discord Chaos event where all of the cards have now been revealed for Ursula's return, including the Set Championship card for this set. Let's take a look at that right away. So here we have it. This is Ursula, Sea Witch Queen. We're going to see the regular enchanted version of this in a little bit, but this is the Set Championship card for this set. This is replacing Stitch, Rockstar Stitch. So this is what the top 4 players, as long as nothing changes, this is what the top 4 players are going to be receiving, as well as a playmat, which Rochelle said on the Discord is incredible.
She said that it will also include the 2 Illumineers from this story. Ooh. So it's not just this art. So I'm very looking forward to what that is. If I heard it correctly. Don't quote me on that.
That part. So yeah, so this is super exciting. Hopefully we get our hands on some on these as well. We also got to see the League promo card. So this is what you get just attending your regular League. So we have Mulan, Enemy of Entanglement, Hidden Incaster, Ursula's Lair, and Mickey, leader of the band. Of course, cards we've already seen, and we'll be excited to pick those up at League. And they didn't reveal the pins, right?
They haven't revealed the pins yet.
The pins still to come.
Very, very soon, and it's nice to also see the lore icons are flashy and shiny as it was used to be, but very, very beautiful touch over there.
Yeah. Okay, so let's jump in and look at the cards. So up first we have Cinderella, Melody Weaver. This is the enchanted version of the legendary card. We are going to look at that next. But she's a 5-cost inkable 1/5 who quests for 2. She has the Singer 9 ability, which is insane. And she has the ability Beautiful Voice. Whenever this character sings a song, your other princess characters get +1 lore this turn. So first of all, Singer 9, it's the first time we're seeing it. Obviously, we saw Singer 7 with Ariel, which was already quite a huge thing. It means she's going to be able to sing a lot of those sing-together songs on her own, or even just with, even combined with a 1-cost character, she's going to be able to sing those. So it's definitely got potential to be very impactful. How much of an impact she will make is yet to be seen. I think a lot of these sing-together songs are 10 cost. They're uninkable, so it is risky to run too many in your deck, but maybe Cinderella is going to allow you to be able to run more than you normally would.
Yes. Can I just give a quick shout to Ivan Mendes for sharing the first look of the legendary version of this card? He was in a convention in Mexico.
Yes.
And because of that, and he's one of our followers, we managed to publish this to the community faster than everyone else. So thank you so much for the visibility. We really appreciate that.
Thanks so much, Ivan, for sharing that with the community.
Yes.
And then the beautiful voice ability from Cinderella. Again, I think a lot of these legendaries this set, they have abilities that are very niche, that are going to fit into specific decks, like a Princess Tribal deck, a Musketeer Tribal deck. So whether it's that impactful, it's hard to say. But obviously, like a lot of song decks already include princesses with the likes of Ariel, Sensational Singer, Cinderella Ballroom Sensation. So they're potentially going to be getting the buff from the Cinderella as well. So maybe it'll see some play.
Yes.
So jumping over next, this is the actual legendary version of Cinderella. Not much really to say. It's the same card that we just looked at. Again, thanks to Ivan for sharing this with the community. It was really cool to see that from that convention in Mexico. So the first card revealed as part of the Chaos event, we have Daisy Duck, Musketeer Spy, a 4-cost inkable 2/3 who quests for 1. And she has the ability Infiltration. When you play this character, each opponent chooses and discards a card. So we're seeing a little bit of discard for Amber, which is nice.
It is interesting.
Obviously, there was the You Have Forgotten Me, which has been in Amber since set 1, which makes your opponent discard 2 cards. Now we've got a little bit of Daisy Duck doing something similar. So I think maybe we could see the emergence of an Amber Emerald discard archetype, which is
that's a good point.
Kind of a bit scary.
Yeah, but I'm more like gobsmacked by how beautiful this art is. And it goes back to what we said, the whole Musketeers Synergy is coming in full force.
Next up, as Matthias mentioned, we have Donald Duck, Musketeer Soldier, a 3-cost inkable 2/3 who quests for 1. He has the Bodyguard ability, and he has the ability Wait For Me. When you play this character, chosen character gets +1 this turn. So there we go. It's something, a nice addition for aggro decks. You can give your Lilo making a wish an extra law, so she's questing for 3. And protect her in the process. So I think that's pretty.
It's
that's
super
pretty strong.
Cool and super beautiful.
What an amazing
I'm a big
art!
fan of Donald Duck.
Yeah,
We
already ordered our playmats for the set, but this is one that
it'll be the next one for sure. It's a good shout as well for Joken. So sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. They had their interview with the artist today, bringing back Artist Spotlight. So check it out. It's amazing. Good job on the art.
Next up, we have Gaston, Despicable Dealer, a 3-cost uninkable 2/4 who quests for 1. He has the dubious recruitment ability. You can exert him, and then you will pay 2 less for the next character you play this turn. So a little bit like Pluto that we saw in the previous set, helping you reduce the cost. Again, it's just like a lantern attached to a body. I think this card has a lot of potential. Like, Amber wants to ramp. This is a good way for Amber to ramp, and yeah.
It is a cool one. And if you've seen this card before, you're not mistaken, it was leaked some time ago. Yeah. Obviously, we didn't share. We're waiting for the official announcement, and there it is.
There you go. Official announcement. On to the next one.
Oh, Max!
This is crazy. Okay. We have Max, Loyal Sheepdog, a 3-cost inkable 4/3 who quests for 1. And he has the ability, Here Boy. If you have a character named Prince Eric in play, you pay 1 less to play this character. We've seen this across a couple of cards now of Synergy. If you, I think if you have Ariel in play, you can play Flounder for 1 less. Yeah. So really the companions coming in to support their associates. I wanted to say master, but that just sounded wrong. But like they're friends.
They're friends. I think that's a good word. They're bestie friends.
And another character for the dog deck. If only they had a dog classification.
I know, right?
There we go. Prince Eric, Ursula's groom.
This card is so beautiful.
So this is a 6-cost inkable 5/5 that quests for 2. He can shift for 4, and he has the ability under Vanessa spell. While you have a character named Ursula in play, this character gains bodyguard and gets +2 strength. So this is there's a lot to unpack there. Yes. First of all, you have trivia about the art?
+2 willpower.
Willpower, sorry.
Yeah. That's one another of those continuous art. So if you look at Ursula's Eric's bride side by side, they are literally in their thrones getting ready for their wedding. So again, another amazing art.
Yeah, and this ability obviously requires the setup with Ursula, but I mean a bodyguard with 7 willpower is pretty strong.
It is strong. Yeah.
But it's one of those cards without that. Is he that great? I mean, the shifting is obviously a huge bonus. There are many cheap Prince Erics that he could definitely shift onto. But we'll see if this one sees some play. Next up, we have the action First Aid. It is a 1-cost inkable, and you can remove 1 damage from each of your characters. Plenty of similar cards like this. I feel like Sealed, maybe this is going to see some play. In a regular deck, nah, I'm not so sure. Next up, we have the Underworld River Styx. This is a 2-cost inkable location with 6 willpower, a move cost of 2, and it gives 1 law per turn. And it has the ability Save a Soul. Whenever a character quests while here, you may pay 3 ink to return a character card from your discard to your hand. So it's a little bit like Hades, who does a similar ability. But this is one that you can just keep using every time. The fact that it gives you law as well means that it's gonna be doing things even if you're not necessarily using its ability. So up next we have Minnie Mouse Musketeer Champion. This is a card we've already looked at in detail, but this is the enchanted version. Really beautiful card, and I think this potentially has the potential to be one of the more expensive enchanters.
I think so as well. Just sitting next to the other Mickey, right? Even though he's just not an enchanted one, is the combination of the 2 Musketeers. And this set is very heavy on Musketeers, as you've been seeing.
Next we have Cogsworth Major Domo. He's a 4-cost inkable 3/3 that quests for 1. He has the ability As You Were. Whenever this character quests, you may give chosen character -2 strength until the start of your next turn. So he's acting a little bit like Akida, except his ability is not on play, it's only when he quests, but that does remove some of the strength from your opponent, which means you can potentially take them down easily without damaging yourself, or even reduce their strength so you can target them with something like Madame Medusa.
Yes, I do actually prefer when it is on quests, because that it means that if I survive I can trigger more than once.
You can use them other ones, yeah.
Obviously there's the risk because you might never catch a quest, but it is a super cool card.
But yeah, I feel like he has a potential to survive. I don't think anyone's going to be really targeting him to get him off the board. So
at least he has a 3 willpower, so he will last at least.
And I think the interesting thing is it's until the start of your next turn. So if your opponent has something like Maui,
that is true.
On board, you can already target them, and then Maui can do less damage if a challenge is in. So
and also means less chance to be banished unless it's being through songs.
Exactly. Up next, we have Pluto Rescue Dog. He's a 5-cost inkable 4/5 who quests for 2, and he has the ability to the rescue. Yes. When you play this character, you can remove up to 3 damage counters from a chosen character. So we've seen a few of these abilities, healing on player. Not sure it'll be particularly impactful, to be honest. I think when you're getting cards out of it, like Rapunzel or even Julieta Madrigal from the current set, has a lot more impact. There is obviously a Floodborn Pluto, the bodyguard, but I'm not even sure this is a good shift target for him since there are already cheaper versions of Pluto. Up next, we have Prince Eric, Navigating Prince. He's a 3-cost inkable 3/3 who quests for 1, and he has the bodyguard ability. We've seen a few bodyguards with this kind of start line so far. We've got Hercules and Steel, some other ones. I mean, I think this is an okay card. It really is filling a role that a lot of characters already fill. He does have the hero class. He does have the prince class, so he could be getting some buffs from some other characters. But I think there's, not much to say about this one.
No.
Next, we have Augustin Madrigal, Clumsy Dad. He's a 1-cost inkable, a 2/2 that quests for 1. So he fits the 1-drop slot in Madrigal theme decks. He's going to be part of the starter deck Madrigal Magic. A very basic card. It's there so that you have something to play on turn 1. He doesn't have a shift target. I doubt we'll be seeing a shift target, but he fits that role nicely. And obviously Madrigal, so he's getting the Madrigal Synergy. You can use something like Mirabelle Madrigal to give him extra law, so he becomes a little bit more of an aggressive quester. But really, for his full potential to be reached, he needs some other characters there to give it to him.
I agree. Big shout to Ari Rally for the art, as always.
It is a great art. Yeah. It is a great art. All right, so let's update the tracker with those final amber cards.
Too many cards. No, amazing quantity of cards. Completed.
There we
Just
go.
Enchanted missing now.
Yes. Okay, starting us off in Amethyst, we're going to start with an Enchanted, this time URSULA'S Sea Witch Queen. This is a card we've already looked at. She was one of the first cards announced as part of the...
URSULA'S Return?
Yeah, as part of URSULA'S Return, but the Twitch stream, I can remember the name of it. But yeah, very beautiful card. I think it was pretty clear we were going to get another Ursula Enchanted. She is the mascot for this set. It is URSULA'S Return after all, so it was to be expected, and super cool art. No misprints on this one, so maybe it won't be as expensive as Deceiver of All, but I think this is super cool.
Maybe there's a misprint in a different language, we'll see.
Yeah.
Not in English, at least.
We have another Enchanted, this time Yen Sid. Again, another character we saw. His legendary regular version is going to be part of the Illuminator's quest, and here he is, conjuring the butterfly that he famously conjured in Fantasia. Honestly, amazing card, and you have some trivia, right, about the card?
Oh, yes. I was telling Charlie, if you notice the back of the card, it looks like, if I'm not wrong, he's inside the same cave where the Sorcerer's Hat from the previous set, Inkalands. We had the item, right? The Sorcerer's Hat. So he probably stole the hat from Mickey, as you can see in his head.
No, Mickey stole the hat from him. Have you not watched Fantasia?
He just re-stole. He always belongs to Mickey. He took it back. But it's interesting to see. I think that's what it is in the back. It looks like parts of the cave.
I see some brooms as well in there.
There you go. That's my chase card.
So this is the second star to the right, if my French is not wrong.
Yeah.
Another card that we saw already. It's one of the Sing Together songs this set. So it makes sense that it would get an Enchanted, really highlighting that new mechanic. Unbelievably beautiful card.
Amazing.
Peter Pan has a special place in our heart because I proposed to Matthias on Peter Pan's flight to Disneyland LA. And this card, unbelievably beautiful. We'll definitely be chasing this one.
That is my chase, and we're getting, even if we don't get in the box, I'm going to get this somehow.
Okay, so up next, we have Bruno Madrigal, Undetected Uncle. He's a 4-cost inkable 3/3 who quests for 1. He has evasive, and he has the ability, you just have to see it. Exert this character, name a card, then reveal the top card of your deck. If it's the named card, put that card into your hand and gain 3 law, otherwise put it back on the top of your deck.
That reminds me of another card.
Which card? It's very similar to the Sorcerer's Hat, which lets you put the card in your hand. The fact that this gives you 3 law is pretty crazy. It's pretty incredible. It's going to work super well with URSULA'S Cauldron, which lets you look at the top cards of your deck and choose if you want to keep it on the top or the bottom.
Or the boss on a roll.
Or the bosses on a roll, exactly. Yeah. So I think this card has a lot of potential in decks that are kind of going to be focused on almost just knowing what's on the top of your deck and gaining law through that. All right, next up we have Magical Maid Feather Duster.
Also known as Fifi.
Also known as Fifi. She does have a name, guys.
Yes.
So she's a 2-cost inkable 2/2 who quests for 2. It's a solid aggro threat for Amethyst. She's vanilla. She doesn't have an ability, but 2/2 stat line isn't bad. Yeah, not much to say about this one, but very beautiful card, very beautiful card. Next up, we have Pico, Helpful Toucan. He's a 2-cost inkable 3/2 who quests for 1, and he's also vanilla. So unlike the Fifi, the previous card that we saw, he sacrifices Law for a little bit more strength. 3 strength obviously is kind of the magic number. A lot of characters only have 3 willpower, so he'll be able to deal with things like Madam Mim Fox, Madam Mim Snake, which are obviously menaces in the meta. So he has that. But yeah, I don't know. It feels like a filler.
I think I prefer Fifi over him.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. So we have Ursula Mad Sea Witch. She's a 2-cost inkable 1/3 who quests for 1. She has Challenger 2, so she gets +2 strength whilst challenging. But I think this one really is there as a shift target for Ursula's Sea Witch Queen.
That's pretty much it. But honestly, probably the best lighting I see in a card.
This is like crazy that this art is on an uncommon card.
I know. It's good. We're going to get a lot of those. Yeah. And then hopefully the foil will be as beautiful as that.
Yeah, this card, gorgeous. Next, we have a 1-cost inkable action, Swing into Action. Chosen character gains Rush this turn. For 1 cost, this feels like a pretty strong ability. There are a lot of characters who could benefit from Rush. And yeah, 1 cost, it's you know,
it's an inkable, right? Yeah. So you can use it. I do wonder if people would run 4 of those. I don't think so. Would you?
Yeah, it's hard to find a slot. Yeah. Like especially a lot of Amethyst decks are very.
There's a full structure you have to follow, so you have to get 4 slots for that. Yeah. But I could see 1 or 2 depending on the next meta.
We have another action up next. This time it's Ursula's Plan, a 3-cost uninkable. Each opponent chooses and exerts one of their characters. Those characters can't ready at the start of their next turn, offering a little bit more control, this time giving your opponent the choice. I'm not sure how I feel about this. I feel like something like the Pepper Madrigal card that we saw is maybe a little bit better because you actually get to choose and it's attached to a body.
And is inkable, I think.
Yeah, this isn't... no, Pepper's not. Okay. No, I don't think so anywhere. And yeah, obviously this is an action, not a song. But... a little bit of trivia that was shared on the Discord for anyone who missed it. Do you want to give the trivia?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so you can see 2 Ursulas there. One of them with the hair like this. So she's the Dreamborn.
She's the
Deceiver of All from Emerald. So Rochelle was just explaining in the lore of Lorcana, those are all glimmers, right? They are not the actual characters. And pretty much Ursula from the Deceiver of All brought back, and that's why Ursula's return. The other glimmer that was stuck, I think, inside the book. Is that right? Which is the purple Ursula, and that's why it's 2 of them.
Okay, so next up we have Rose Lantern. This is a 2-cost inkable action, and it has the ability Mystical Petals. You can exert this and pay 2 to move 1 damage counter from chosen character to chosen opposing character. I feel like this is really bad.
I do as well.
I mean, yeah, moving 1 damage at the cost of 2 ink feels pretty underwhelming. There are already characters who do things similar for not much more.
It is a weird one. They did say, right, in Ravensburger today that if you match those with the other bell that has the same roles and all the other synergies will play well. But again, I just can't even see that mechanic being that useful. Imagine having to pay a cost of 2.
Yeah, this one's kind of very mid for me.
Can I drop a disclaimer?
Go on.
As soon as you're starting, obviously the font is not the real font. This card has been announced. We never actually exposed this because it was impossible to read. It was just the image and very hard to read in German. It wasn't an angle.
It was on an angle. Someone took a picture of their screen.
Picture. It was official though, the announcement, but it was not a good quality, unfortunately. So I took the liberty to put it together. So there are some stuff that is not real, as you can see. It's myself on Photoshop, but the text is accurate. The information is accurate. I just thought that would be the best way to show the information.
Perfect. So let's take a look at it then. So we have Belle, Untrained Mystic. She's a 3-cost inkable 3/3 that quests for 1, and she has the ability Here, Don't Do It. When you play this character, move 1 damage counter from chosen character to chosen opposing character. So this is the same ability as the Floodborn Bell, this set. Obviously, the Floodborn Bell, you can move a lot more damage, but it's the same kind of ability. As we said about the Floodborn Bell, it's one of those abilities, like I don't think anyone's really taken it to full advantage yet. I don't know that that'll happen this set either. And I think this card, it's just okay, but it's really there as a shift target for Floodborn Bell.
Yeah. Oh, I love this.
So we have Mrs. Pot, Enchanted Teapot, a 4-cost inkable 3/4 that quests for 2. She has the ability It'll Turn Out Alright. When you play this character, if you have a character named Lumiere or Cogsworth in play, you may draw a card. So we're definitely seeing kind of a suggestion and emergence of potentially some synergies between our Beauty and the Beast characters. The Lumiere card this set, I think, is very, very playable. He's the 2/2 that gives +1 to your characters. So I think that card is sure to see some play. So potentially people are going to be adding maybe some Mrs. Potts into some Ruby Amethyst decks to give you some extra card draw. Obviously, questing for 2, very good stats. But outside of those very specific synergies, maybe she's not going to be seeing much play. Next up, we have Antonio Madrigal, Animal Expert. He's a 3-cost inkable 3/4 who quests for 1, and he's a vanilla character. Again, he's another one of those characters slotting into the Madrigal decks. He's in the starter deck, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And like Augustin, he is going to really be buffed by the other Madrigals. He doesn't do much on his own. His stats are okay, but yeah, it's all about the Madrigal synergy to make him work.
Yes.
Next, we have a card that I'm super
that
excited
is a
about.
good one.
Who would have thought we'd be excited by a 1-cost broom, but we do
it's
have
amazing.
We do have Magic Broom, a Luminary Keeper, a 1-cost inkable 1/2 who quests for 1. But where he's amazing is his ability Nice and Tidy. Whenever you play another character, you may banish this character to draw a card. So obviously there are so many options with this, so much potential. Mickey Wayward Sorcerer can play this character for free because he's a 1-drop. He gives the Broom deck a 1-drop it desperately needed if players really want to go all in and make a fully Broom-focused deck. He also pairs with Yensid. Yensid obviously draws cards if you have 2 or more Broom characters in play, I believe. And so you can play a card. You can play Yensid with 2 Brooms on the board, draw a card, and then banish this and draw another card. So lots of potential. I think even outside of Broom decks, it's always nice to have card draw, maybe as a potential replacement for something like Chernobog's Followers as well. I think this card is great. We have another Broom up next. This is Magic Broom Life-Filled Sweeper, I think. We're translating the French in real time here, so it pays to live in Montreal. He's a 3-cost inkable 2/4 that quests for 1, vanilla. Again, another card there just to fill out your Broom deck, just to give you a little bit of a better curve, more variety of characters. If you get your synergies going, if you've got Mickey Wayward Sorcerer to make him cheaper, you've got other Brooms who are potentially buffing him. He will help with Yensid, because that's another Broom character to help him draw cards. I think it is what it is. It does its job, and yeah. All right, so there we go. That's all the cards for Amethyst. We're going to be updating the tracker now.
You got Amethyst, you got Amethyst. There you go. Let's go to Emerald?
Yep, let's hop over to Emerald. In Emerald, we're going to start off with an Enchanted. We don't talk about Bruno. I think we were expecting a Bruno card.
Yes.
Enchanted this set. We should have probably guessed it would be the song.
To be fair, yeah, it was probably a mistake on our end.
But this card, absolutely amazing.
Beautiful.
I think the art style of this is just crazy. The rats, the rats across his back, amazing.
You can see on the bottom as well, if you notice, behind the text, there's rats everywhere. Yeah. It's just so
and
cool.
It's very MC Escher style with all of those, all of those interconnected staircases.
And his prophecies as well, right? You can see the references to the prophecies that they talk in the song.
The Vision Slab, not the Vision Lab, the Vision Slab. So yeah, amazing card. Very excited to see that Enchanted.
We talked about that before, so I don't think we need to cover that again.
Yeah. We're going to see another Enchanted. This time it's Jasmine Desert Warrior. Another card that we covered, and here is her Enchanted version. It's amazing to see Jasmine getting enchanted. We've seen Aladdin, we've seen Genie,
Finally.
We've seen Jafar.
It's everyone.
And now we're going to see Jasmine. I thought we'd see Raja or something just before Jasmine, but
Which
no.
Raja?
The tiger.
Oh, sorry.
The tiger.
It's
so, yeah, it's a different name in Portuguese, is it?
No, it's probably Raja, so I don't remember. I don't know.
So yeah, so we're going to see Jasmine. I think this card super beautiful. Another Enchanted. We're not stopping with the Enchanted. So This is the third Enchanted for Emerald. This is Diablo, Devoted Herald. Honestly, if you'd have told me that one of my favorite Enchanteds this set would be Diablo, I would not have believed you. But this is just crazy. Like,
visually, you mean?
Visually,
yes.
It is absolutely crazy. Like some of the other cards, I think they suffer because the backgrounds are quite plain on the Enchanted. But I think here, because of all of the detail, because of the contrast between the color and the background,
it's a real green, right?
Yeah, it really pops. So we have Diablo Maleficent Spy, a 1-cost inkable 1/2 who quests for 1, and he has the ability Scout Ahead. When you play this character, you may look at each opponent's hand. So that's really giving you information about what your opponent might have. It can help you make decisions about what you want to do next. Do you want to play Ursula Deceiver to snatch a song? Do you want to play something else? At 1 cost, definitely a playable card. Also a shift target for the Legendary Diablo that we saw the Enchanted for already.
Yeah.
Next up, we have a vanilla card. This is Pain, Immortal Sidekick, a 3-cost inkable 2/4 who quests for 2. adding a little bit more aggro threats to Emerald. Also, you're going to see he has some synergy with Panic, and we've seen in previous sets the synergy between Pain and Panic, so I think there is potential there.
Yeah.
So yeah, speaking of Panic, here he is. This is the Immortal Sidekick.
Continuous art as well.
It's continuous art as well.
Yes, sorry.
You can see Pain sitting on Panic's head there. So this is a 4-cost inkable 3/3 that quests for 2, and he has the ability reporting for duty while this character is exerted. If you have a character named Pain in play, your villain characters can't be challenged, which is a really fun one actually. It kind of builds on that villain archetype that we've seen. Would it see play outside of like a very niche deck? I'm not so sure, but
we'll have to revisit our villains theme deck and try those two together for sure.
Another theme to revisit.
We're gonna have to revisit all of that.
Up next, we have Pete, Born to Cheat. He's a 2-cost uninkable 2/3 who quests for 1, and he has the ability I Clobber You whenever this character quests while he has 5 strength or more. Return chosen character with 2 strength or less to their player's hand. So very similar kind of deal to Pete that we saw in Rise of the Floodborn, where giving this character strength gives you a benefit out of it. Yeah. Really, it's a payoff for the support cards, which there are many support cards with very little payoff. So it seems like Pete is where they're really going to be paying these cards off. Okay, we have the Fates, Only One Eye. They're a 1-cost inkable 2/1 who quests for 1, and they have the ability All Will Be Seen. When you play this character, look at the top card of each opponent's deck. Jesus. So that is really cool. I don't think right now there are that many payoffs to knowing what your opponent's going to draw next, but...
Unless it's Be Prepared.
Unless it's Be Prepared. Yeah, so that's the thing. Like, you can use that information in order to decide what to play, but you can't really manipulate what's on the top of the deck. So maybe we might see some cards which are going to let you manipulate your opponent's deck.
Remove and,
so I feel like this is maybe something that's going to be better in future. But yes, it's nice having that information. I think having the information about what's currently in your opponent's hands may be a bit stronger. But perhaps we'll see a deck with the Fates, with Diablo, with Ursula, Deceiver, all of which are just going to let you know what your opponent has, which is obviously quite a big deal in Lorcana.
And it's a cheap card at the end of the day. If it is literally something you need to do straight away, it's a cost of 1. Yeah. If you happen to have in your deck, obviously.
Yeah, I think it's just knowing where to fit it in. Exactly. Like which card do you remove to put this in. Yeah. We have Zeus, Mr. Lightning Bolts. He's a 3-cost inkable 0/5 who quests for 2. And he has the ability Target Practice. Whenever this character challenges another character, he gets plus strength equal to the strength of chosen character this turn. So that chosen character can be yours, it can be your opponent's. So if your opponent has Maui, you can take Maui's strength and use that against one of their other characters. So I think that is very, very interesting. It's similar to the other Zeus card, which also doesn't have any strength by default.
The Amethyst one, right?
Yes,
and obviously he synergizes really well with the card we talked about, Heroes. Am I pronouncing it?
Hera, yes.
Hera?
I think we're going to talk about Hera.
Okay,
we haven't seen her yet.
I'm coming from the future. You're gonna see Hera.
Yeah.
And he got to synergize with very well with her.
Yeah. Next up, we have Dodge. This is a 2-cost inkable action. Chosen character gains ward and evasive until the start of your next turn. At 2 costs, this seems pretty impactful. You can really protect one of your characters quite well. It's going to be very difficult for your opponent to be able to get around ward and evasive if they're not expecting it. So that could be quite a fun ability to use. I think maybe more in sealed formats. It's going to be a little bit more impactful, but again, it's just always the struggle of like, what card do you take out to put Dodge in? But perhaps in like an aggro deck, an aggro evasive deck, it could see some play. All right, on to Make the Potion. This is a 2-cost uninkable action, and you can choose one: banish chosen item or deal 2 damage to chosen damaged character. This is really good. I think Emerald needed some item removal. More ink colors needed item removal, so there it is. And the fact that it has that kind of double utility, if your opponent isn't playing items, then you can damage them as well. I think kind of it's needed since it is an inkable. It's good to be able to kind of choose based on the scenario. But it seems like a solid card for Emerald, even if it's just 1 or 2 per deck. And the art, my goodness.
And obviously Ruby didn't get item removal.
That's true. No item removal.
Why? The art is beautiful. Yeah, imagine that in a playmat.
Up next, we have Ursula's Trickery. This is a 1-cost uninkable action. Each opponent may choose and discard a card. For each opponent who doesn't, you draw a card. This seems really good.
Yeah.
At first glance, there's just upside for you. You're either forcing your opponent to discard, which is great for Emerald strategy most of the time. Otherwise, you're drawing a card, so there really isn't much
It's a win-win.
downside to this. It is uninkable, but I think it has to be because of that. But I think like this is always a card that's going to be great to play. Unless your opponent has just like loads and loads of cards, you're not going to get as much value out of it. But I don't know. I think it's flexible enough that you will.
Can I just say a quick thing? If you read the description just on the bottom of the lore, look how interesting. An Ursula save another one, and they double cross her to try to steal the classic Ursula. You should not expect something different from Ursula.
Never trust a villain. Next up, we have Hidden Cove Tranquil Haven. This is a 1-cost inkable location with 6 willpower and a move cost of 1, and it has the ability Revitalizing Waters. Characters get +1 strength and +1 willpower while here. It's pretty good.
It makes a reference to the other item from this set. I keep forgetting the name.
The Hidden Inkcaster?
Yeah, the Inkcaster, which is an amazing item, by the way. So it's nice. That's by reading that, you can see that's where Ariel found it for the first time.
We have Prince Philip, Slayer of Enemies. He's a 9-cost inkable 6/6 who quests for 3. He can be shifted in for 6 on any other character called Prince Philip, or Prince Philippe en français. He is evasive, and he has the ability...
Strike to the heart.
Strike to the heart, frappe au cœur. Strike to the heart. Whenever you play this character, banish all characters with at least 1 damage counter on them. So, obviously crazy. A super crazy card. Like in a steel emerald deck, you could do something like grab your swords, then play Prince Philip, and every single one of your opponents is going to be banished unless they have something like resist. So that is super powerful. I think it makes a lot of sense that he costs 9 because this is quite an insane ability to have on play. It gives Emerald some more removal, which is really nice. It was lacking a bit of removal, and it's kind of what we've seen. A lot of the cards are in Emerald are very much do something if your opponent character already has damage on them, like we saw that with Helga Sinclair. We saw that with the Queen of Hearts. So it's just leaning into that archetype a little bit more, combining Emerald with Steel for a little bit of damage. But
I think the interesting thing is obviously he's also evasive. It's hard to take him out. He's inkable, which is not very common in Emerald, but that's probably a way to incentivize the player to put this in the deck. And finally, with Ursula's return, we've seen so many Prince Philips. So it just makes sense. That is the final outcome for that Philip trilogy.
And his stat line, great, 6/6. It's going to be hard to get him off the board. All right, next we have Megara Captivating Cynic, a 3-cost uninkable 3/6 who quests for 2. She has an ability similar to a Madame Mim Fox, kind of making you make a choice, which is a shady deal. When you play this character, choose and discard a card or banish this character. So obviously, she has very good stats, very, very good stats in the 3-drop slot. I don't think there's any other 3-drop character who has 6 willpower, but she comes at the expense of you needing to sacrifice a card to play her.
There's another Megara coming just now.
There is.
There you
another
go.
Megara. Is she playable? Let's look. Let's find out. So this one is Megara Liberated One. She's a 5-cost inkable 4/4 who quests for 2. She has Ward, and she has the ability People Always Do Crazy Things. Whenever you play a character named Hercules, you may ready this character. So this one, falling more into like those Hercules theme decks,
the whole hero approach as well.
So potentially we're going to see how there are a lot of very strong Hercules cards this set in Steel. So maybe we're going to be seeing a Megara green Steel Hercules deck. I know we're very excited to build another Hercules deck with the new cards. But yeah, I think this it's okay. We have another character from Hercules, this time Hera, Queen of the Gods. She's a 3-cost inkable 1/3 who quests for 2. She also has Ward. And she has the ability Protective Goddess. Your character's named Zeus gain Ward. And she has the ability You're a True Hero. Your character's named Hercules gain Evasive. So, again, we're seeing a little bit more of this pushing toward themed decks. If you're playing a Hercules themed deck, potentially you're going to be running Zeus and Hercules. So maybe a deck that's really doubling down on Hercules, Hera could be a really good addition to those decks. All right, next we have Gus, Champion of Cheese.
Gus.
He's a 2-cost inkable 2/3 vanilla who quests for 1. Not much to say about this card except...
Do you remember back in the other video when we reviewed Jacques that we actually guessed that there was a continuous art? So here we go. We have one art following for the other one, similar to what we saw with the 7 Dwarfs on Floodborne, and with Peter Pan and Captain Hook on set 3.
And Mickey and Pluto.
And Mickey and Pluto, so many of those.
So there we go.
Beautiful, beautiful, but very vanilla. Yeah.
Okay, so that's it for Emerald. We'll update the tracker now.
And this time I'm looking down because that's actually where the tracker is. I keep pointing up. So there you go.
And that's it. All of the cards for Emerald. And now we're going to jump over to Ruby, and we'll start off with the Enchanteds. So we have Goofy Super Goof, a card that we looked at, a card that I'm personally very excited for. I think he's going to be very, very playable this set. And here we go. Here's the Enchanted. It's great to see again. We saw Minnie Mouse. We get to see some more friends of Mickey joining us in the Enchanted. So this is amazing, yeah.
That's one of my favorite cards in Ruby, just period. Not just the Enchanted, but the card itself. So happy to see joining that path, yeah.
Next up, we have Beast Wounded. He's a 3-cost inkable 2/6 who quests for 2. He has the ability That Hurts. This character enters player with 4 damage already. Similar to Mother Gothel that we saw in the previous sets. So he does have a pretty hefty stat line at 2/6 with the downside of having the damage on him already. But as we know, this is fantastic for Ruby Amber. It can synergize very, very well with Rapunzel to really get you some card draw popping off. Maybe this is where we're going to see the kind of the use of the other items that heal, because if you're playing him on 3 and able to heal him up, then he becomes kind of a monster that it's going to be difficult for your opponent to heal.
And if you see his paw up close, that is the follow-up from Bells, the card we revealed earlier in Amethyst. And that card is about removing or moving the damage. So it all goes together perfectly. This is also the beast that you see on the Trove box. So if you're wondering where you saw this art before.
Giving you all the trivia today. Next up, we have Flynn Rider Frenemy. He's a 2-cost inkable 2/2 who quests for 1. And he has the ability Narrow Advantage. At the start of your turn, if you have a character in play with more strength than each opposing character, gain 3 lore. So we were having discussions internally about what this means, but I believe it's the cumulative strength of all of your opponent's characters. So if your opponent has 3 characters with 1 strength and you have a character with 4 strength, then it would trigger this ability. If we understand it correctly.
Every time in the set phase in the beginning.
Yes, exactly. And what do we think about this ability?
I actually quite like it. I love those abilities that are like a little bit conditional, but at the same time, you can strategize a little bit if you can plan a few steps ahead.
I think
3 lores is a lot.
Yeah, I think what's interesting is it kind of puts the onus on your opponent on their turn to make sure that this triggered as an ability when play returns back to you. So I think that can be very interesting, and it can be something they have to play around and really
100%.
Really deal with. I think as a closer for games, this could be really quite powerful.
And it's turn 2 as well. Obviously, at that point, you could already put it. And again, looking at the description, it's any of your characters. It's not Flynn Rider with his 2 strength. It's any of your characters in the board. Yeah.
Should be a fun card.
It does, yeah.
Okay, we have Li Shang General Sun. He's a 1-cost inkable 2/2 who quests for 1, and he's vanilla. Not much to say about this character, but he is, of course, going to be the shift target for the Floodborne Li Shang that we saw this set.
Yes.
Who has the shift discard. So, I think that's where Li Shang will be useful if people play Li Shang.
That's pretty much it. And he's fighting, obviously, the entanglements from Ursula.
Yes, he is.
Oh, I love this card. It's like beautiful.
So this is Moonlight Ninja Soldier. Also 1-cost inkable 2/3 who quests for 1. And she has the ability Battle Wound. This player enters player with 2 damage on them. It makes sense. Like, it's a great stat line for a 1-cost character. I think like Beast, like Mother Gothel, a prime target for something like Rapunzel. She's cheaper, so you can potentially play Rapunzel and this on the same turn in Ruby Amber decks. But I don't think there's much else to say about this one.
I think the only piece of trivia is she's number 116. We were hoping that would be Mushu. It has been confirmed no Mushu for us.
No Mushu. I think
it's another Mulan, but I'm okay because it's a pretty card.
Yeah, I think Mushu might not be happening, I'm afraid.
I don't think so.
Okay, we have Nessus River Guardian. He's a 6-cost inkable 7/5 who quests for 2 vanilla. The thing I will say about this, I was hoping he'd have the Titan classification. I feel like technically, narratively, maybe he isn't a Titan, but it would have been nice to have something that could have more synergy.
You'll make the whole difference, right? Because right now, when we look at that, would you have it? I don't think there is enough synergy. Maybe the villain one, but there's not enough to justify.
And it's like a 6-cost, not a shift. It's tricky. I don't think this one will see play. Okay, so we have Noi, Acrobatic Baby. She's a 4-cost inkable 4/4 who quests for 1. And she has the ability Fancy Footwork. Whenever you play an action, this character takes no This character takes no damage from challenges this turn. So, this is a fun one. Ruby, obviously, not necessarily a color that focused on actions, but I think there is that kind of the suggestion, the hint.
Well, a song is an action, right?
Yeah, a song is an action, but there aren't that many.
Yeah.
But we've seen kind of some of these conditions where when an action's played, etc. So Noi kind of fits into that. 4 strength is pretty good. So being able to hit something for 4 strength and not take any damage is pretty good. But really, it depends on how many impactful actions that can be paired with Noi.
And isn't she cute? Look
She's
at her
super
cheek.
cute.
Oh, I love
Okay,
this.
so this is a card that I am a little bit excited about. So this is Sisu Daring Visitor, a 3-cost uninkable 1/1 who quests for 1. She has evasive, but she also has the ability Bring on the Heat. When you play this character, banish chosen opposing character with 1 strength or less. So really, it's just giving Ruby another tool to deal with more aggro characters. That's something that Ruby struggles a little bit with. Just because of the way the Ink color is designed.
I struggle a lot.
But being able to drop this on turn 3 and banish something like a Curse Merfolk, like a Lilo making a wish, I think is impactful.
It's just a cheaper version of all those ladies in red.
Exactly.
Bringing Sisu again in that position, because there's another Sisu card.
There is a flood, and there's a Floodbond, and that is the Floodbond.
Exactly.
So
it's a lot about Sisu is the representation of the lady in red, and it shows off again. Yeah.
We have Tong Survivor. He's a 4-cost uninkable 3/6 with Reckless. So it's another Reckless character joining Ruby. I'm always a little bit disappointed when I see Reckless without Rush. It just really takes out the value. I think Big Hercules that we saw this set is probably a better character just because he has Rush. But Tong does have higher willpower, but yeah, I don't know that I see this one being that good. We have the Plank. This is a 3-cost uninkable item. It has the ability Walk. Pay 2 ink, banish this item, and then choose one of the following. Banish chosen hero character, already chosen villain character. They can't quest for the rest of the turn. It's a fun one. It's nice to have these cards that have like a choice between how you use them, but it seems a little bit niche. I think it's similar to the Poison Apple, which targeted princess characters.
Yep.
The Poison Apple.
Yep.
So it's similar to that. I mean, maybe if the hero archetype, there's like a really strong hero synergy deck, perhaps, but other than that, I think this
is too costly.
Yeah.
Non-inkable, you still have to pay something. I don't know. Yeah.
And the fact you have to banish the item.
Exactly. It's like one-off. Yeah.
Next up, we have the Location Training Grounds Impossible Pillar. This is a 1-cost inkable with a willpower of 5 and a move cost of 1, and it has the ability Strength of Mind. You pay 1 ink. Chosen character here gains +1 strength this turn. It just feels a bit bad to me. This one. I mean, it doesn't give you law per turn. You've got to pay ink to do it, and how impactful really is
just feel like
strength?
They could have pushed a little bit more. If you give like 3 strength, that'll make the whole difference.
But I guess the thing is, you could just pay 3 and then give your character 3 strength, because you're not exerting anything, so you can just keep paying.
But can you do that? Oh, I suppose yes.
Yeah,
for the same character
gains +1 strength this turn.
But do you think it is?
Yeah. That's how the ability works. So I guess that's. Yeah, you could put a character here, and then on turn 7,
that does make a big difference actually, and it's very cheap as well with 1 cost.
Yeah. So we have Hercules Daring Demigod. He's a 5-cost uninkable 7/3 with Rush and Reckless. So obviously a lot of comparisons here to Maui, Hero to All. Maui has the benefit of being inkable, but because Hercules does hit for 7, that's like a crazy amount of strength. Really, Hercules is there as a location killer. He's going to be able to come down and take out something like the Queen's Castle, Pride Lands in a single turn, which is really good in the 5-cost slot. We're seeing a lot of cards which synergize with Hercules characters. Maybe Hera to give him evasive, to make him a little bit trickier to get rid of.
I'm fairly sure there are some synergies with Resist. I think that's how we will bring him from 3 willpower to more defense. Because that's another big difference. When you have Maui, you are more protected. But obviously, as Charlie said, it's a one-off and you do like the job for the day.
Joining Hercules, we have Pegasus, Flying Steed, a 2-cost inkable 3/1 who quests for 1, and he has the evasive ability. So this is a character adding to those evasive builds. He's got 3 strength, which is nice, so he can deal with other evasive characters like Minnie Mouse. It reminds me a lot of Fidget from set 2, Ratigan's assistant, who has a very similar ability. I think he's there more to take down evasive threats than to quest, but he can quest if the board is clear, so that's good.
He's literally the opposite of Mini, right? Surfer.
Yeah.
So I feel like he'll be there to destroy another Mini Surfer, and then they get out of the board together. Oh, this card.
This card, I feel like is going to be busted.
Broken.
So let's talk about it. We have Tuk Tuk, Lively Partner, a 3-cost Inkable, 2/3 who quests for 1. He has evasive, but what really matters is his ability on a roll. When you play this character, you may move him and one of your other characters to the same location for free. The other characters, so the ones not moved to the location, get +2 strength this turn. So what does that mean? Well, it means if you've got the Queen's Castle down, you can play Tuk Tuk and then move him and another character to the Queen's Castle, and now you're really putting some pressure on your opponent. I think it has a lot of potential. And it's like, if that ability wasn't good enough, it's also giving +2 strength to your other characters.
Exactly.
So you can use them to take out threat, protect your location.
And he's evasive.
I mean, the evasive is less impactful, I think, because...
I just mean as a combination.
Yeah,
so many
it's
things
crazy.
In one character,
I think this card is going to see a lot of play. I'm really high on this card. I'm really excited.
I'm having in my deck for sure, yeah.
All right, another character from Raya. We have Sisu, Responsible Sister. She's an 8-cost uninkable, a 5/4 that quests for 3. She can be shifted in for 6, and she has the ability, Let Me Handle This. When you play this character, banish all opponent characters with 2 strength or less. So this is our kind of Lady in Red, this set. This is
baby Lady in Red.
Comparable to the likes of Tremaine and to Medusa.
Yes.
Obviously targeting those low-cost characters, so it gives Ruby a way to deal with maybe some aggro threats, but being shiftable with quite a few Sisus, this set is good. It cost an Inkable, though, could hold her back. I don't see many people running a full set of these, but in something like Ruby Amethyst, you can bounce her, you can replay her to get more value out of her.
I don't think I would use her. I mean, obviously the 3 lore is exciting, right, in comparison to the other Lady in Reds, but... It's going
to be a tricky one. It's going to be where she slots into a deck.
Because you have to rely on the other Sisus to be worth it, to be able to alter, and I don't think the other Sisus are good enough in play yet for the combination. Should we show the tracker being updated?
Let's show the tracker being updated.
Okay. Help me here, pointed this way. So that's Ruby. We reached all 204? All 34 cards for Ruby by now. Yes. Should we go to Sapphire?
Let's go to Sapphire. So we're going to start off with the Enchanted again. This time we have the Queen Diviner, a card we looked at, a card that has people excited, a card that I'm not that excited about.
So beautiful. But, well, gameplay-wise, but like, we are not Sapphire players. That's probably why as well. Yeah,
but I can't. I don't know. It feels like too much setup. But the Enchanted here is gorgeous.
Beautiful. From Nocturne as well.
Yeah, Nocturne has really cranked out some amazing Enchanteds for their first shot at it. So the Queen. Next up, we have Iduna, Caring Mother. She's a 4-cost Inkable, 3/3 that quests for 1, and she has the ability Enduring Love. When this character is banished, you may put this card into your inkwell face down and exerted. We've seen a few of these from Sapphire, very similar to Grandma Tala, to James, to Rufus. I think those cards do see some play, but I don't know. The 4-drop slot is stacked in Sapphire, I think, at the moment. Would you want to really be playing this character and you don't really get the benefit till turn 6 at the soonest? I'm just not sure.
You might as well just use Grandma Tala and do that at the start, right?
We have Olaf, Trusting Companion. He is a 1-cost Inkable 1/2 who quests for 1 with the support ability. I think he is there really as a shift target for the Floodborn Olaf that we saw this set. Not really much else to say.
The discard one, yeah, that's true. And he's holding Kristoff's hat.
Oh, okay.
Next one. Oh, Daddy.
Okay, so we have Daddy Triton, Young Prince. He's a 4-cost Inkable 3/4 that quests for 1. He has 2 abilities. The first one is Superior Swimmer. During your turn, this character gains evasive. And he also has the Keeper of Atlantica. Whenever one of your locations is banished, you may put that card into your inkwell face down and exerted.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so it gives you... we've seen cards that give you ink when your characters are banished, when your items are banished, and now we're seeing your locations banished. Obviously, there is the Floodborn Triton, who is going to really be helping protect your locations. So this kind of helps you ramp until you're able to get him out, shifting potentially on top of this Triton. And then at that point, your locations are just going to be hopefully staying on the board as long as possible. Yeah. So we have next Tuk Tuk, Curious Partner. He's a 2-cost Inkable 2/3 who quests for 1, and Vanilla. I think other than the fact this card is
so
gorgeous,
cute.
super cute,
Little eyes
there's
and
not
birds.
much to say about this one. Next up, we have Ice Block. This is a 1-cost ininkable item, and it has the ability Chilly Labor. Exert this item, chosen character gains -1 strength this turn. I just don't see it. I think this is not a very good card. I think even in like drafts, in sealed, like
it's just an inkable. Why would you even want to risk that?
I think it's the fact that it's an inkable. It's so situational.
It's weird.
Yeah, I don't see this getting played. Next up, we have Winter Camp Medical Tent. This is a 3-cost inkable location with 8 willpower and a move cost of 1, and it has the ability Help the Wounded. Whenever a character quests while here, remove up to 2 damage from them. If they're a hero character, remove up to 4 damage. And this location also gives 1 law. I think on its own, this is maybe not the best location. I think healing is kind of one of those abilities that should be good but isn't really very good. But perhaps combined with Grandpappy in like a healing deck, this could work. But I suppose the fact it gives law and it gives a benefit, it means that it's still giving some use, but 3 costs.
It's very powerful as well at 8 willpower, right?
It is,
so
but it's still
hits.
It's still a 3-cost location.
It is
difficult to justify that in the 3-cost slot.
And for Jackson and Elliot out there, another flag with
That's
Sapphire.
true. That's true. I didn't even see it. Is there a hidden Mickey in here?
There's probably one we'll find later.
Triton, Champion of Atlantica. He is a 9-cost inkable 7/9 who quests for 3. He can be shifted in for 6, and he has the ability Imposing Presence. Opposing characters get -1 strength for each location you have in play. So I think this was one of those cards. I looked at it, I was like, that's okay. And then I looked at it again, I'm like, okay, that's actually kind of crazy. Because really what it's saying is that if you have a lot of locations in play, you're now making it very difficult for your opponent to remove those locations. If you have, even 3 low-cost locations, right? There are plenty of 1-drop locations. That's 3 less strength for your opponents now makes it very, very difficult to remove your location. So he has a lot of potential there. He's Floodborn, so you can get him in a bit sooner as well.
And obviously that's going to be a silly question, but if he is there and I play a Maui, even if Maui just enter play, he is affected by the minus.
Yes, yeah, it's a passive ability. It's not like something like Kita where it's on play.
This is like, as long as
when
he's
this
there,
character's on the board,
anything that comes in is affected, so he is quite strong.
9 willpower. Insane.
It's insane.
Like, how do you get him off the board? That's like the same amount of willpower as like McDuck Mana.
And you're gonna probably get weaker and weaker because you're gonna probably have a location as well.
And the opponents who challenge can't do that much damage to
him. They will be banished in the process.
So I feel like this is the kind of card you build a deck around. Like I don't think he slots into any of the existing archetypes, but I like maybe like a Ruby Sapphire location deck where you can get him out sooner through ramping. I think this card could see play. We could see a whole new archetype because of this card. I think it has a lot of potential, and it's just going to get better with time.
Oh, I love this card.
Yeah. So this is a really gorgeous card. This is Aurora, Tranquil Princess, a 2-cost inkable, 1/3 that quests for 1, and she has the ward ability. So really she's there for those Sapphire aggro decks more than anything, just to be able to get you some lore quite aggressively and being a little bit protected from some of the damage spells that there are in the game. But, I mean, other than the art, I really don't think there's much to say about this one.
No, I just want to, honestly, this is the best card you've done, Connie, in my opinion. It's just beautiful.
Wow.
The
Connie,
best.
Connie is,
and the Connie, you are amazing. This card is beautiful, so congrats.
I think it just feels like the traditional Disney art.
It's perfect. All the
like
details, the depth and everything is just...
The lighting.
I wish it was a card in Amethyst or Ruby so I could use, but apart from that...
You'll play Sapphire.
No, play Sapphire from it, so good job.
Another super cute card, we have Pascal, Inquisitive Pet, a 3-cost inkable 3/3 that quests for 1. He has what I think could be quite a good ability, Colorful Tactics. When you play this character, look at the top 3 cards of your deck and put them back in any order. So similar to something like the Queen that we saw the Enchanted for, except it's on play, which is always very nice to have because, it means you get the effect either way. So it lets you really pick the card you want on the top of your deck. I think it could definitely work in an Amethyst Sapphire deck where you can bounce this character back to play him again, and I think this is gonna see play. I think this will see play. Next we have the Transformed Chef, the Castle Stove. He's a 4-cost inkable 3/3 that quests for 2. He has the ability, I can't remember what this means in French, but when you play him, you can remove 2 damage counters from a chosen character. So this is part of the starter decks in the Sapphire starter deck. We've seen quite a few cards like this. There are Jasmines, there are other cards that heal damage. Maybe we'll finally see the emergence of that really strong healing build with Grandpappy.
Yes.
But I mean, other than that, I don't see the card getting that much play.
No,
but,
maybe Alex decks, but that's it.
Yeah, our friend Alex has a Grandpappy deck. He's
so you gotta get this one.
So maybe that'll work for him. Next we have Sisu, Wise Friend, a 6-cost inkable 6/6 that quests for 2, and she is vanilla. Another one of those like top end, expensive vanilla characters that are there really to quest in Sapphire, but I don't know. I think there are plenty of options in a very similar slot. None of those really see play. I think it's quite hard for a vanilla character to see play, especially when they're expensive like this. But maybe in sealed tournaments she's kind of going to shine there. But I don't see her making an impact really, and she's not even a good shift target.
No, that's it. So even for the other Sisu, it wouldn't work. Yeah.
Next up, we have Glean, a 1-cost inkable action. You can banish chosen item. Its owner gains 2 lore. So it's there as a little bit of item removal if you get desperate, but really where it's going to be used is for banishing your own items to gain a little bit of lore. So it's one of those actions that just guarantees lore for the player. So that's something I think quite new we're seeing in Sapphire. It's something we've obviously seen in Amethyst already and starting to see it in Amber. So there it is.
I can see them using with Popsicle a lot.
Absolutely. And of course in Sapphire decks you can bring things back with Tamatoa, so there's not much of a risk to banishing your items. So maybe it'll see play. I'm not so sure.
Quite cheap. Yeah, it is inkable.
It's very cheap. It's basically pay 1 to gain 2 lore,
exactly,
which is a good thing.
Not bad. So that is another card. That's another Triton, Discerning King. He's an inkable 3-cost 3/3 that quests for 1. And this card was also one of the cards we got from Ivan Mendes from the conference in Mexico. So thanks again, and I'll move to Charlie to describe the card for you.
So he has the ability Consign to the Depths. You exert him and banish one of your items, gain 3 lore. So quite similar to Gleam. It's another way to use your items to generate some lore, which is going to be good if we get to see some really all-in item decks. Now you've got a way to gain even more lore from your items. Obviously, he's going to be a shift target for the big King Triton, so that's another use for him. But I think 3 lore is not like a bad thing to want to get out of a character. Obviously, you do need him to survive a turn, but that is possible. I mean, even in Sapphire, you can potentially be playing him a little bit sooner if you're able to ramp.
And I think what is really cool as well is it fits really well with the narrative in the movie, where he is destroying all of Ariel's treasures. So it's the whole thing. I'm destroying that to earn the lore. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so that's all of the Sapphire cards. Let's update the tracker now.
Yes. Too many cards. And by too many, I mean a great amount of cards.
Okay, jumping over to Steel, we have our first Enchanted. We're revealing today for Steel, which is The Wall, Border Fortress. This is a card that we already talked about, so we won't talk about the gameplay here. But this is gorgeous. I think this is one of those examples where the art style, the kind of the paintbrush style, really enhances it. It looks absolutely gorgeous. Kind of like Diablo. The fact that the background's a little bit more muted really helps everything pop. I know people online are super high on this card, really excited for this because it just looks so beautiful.
I think it really worked for our location as well, with the whole horizontal painting. Yeah. And the quick quiz or fact is interesting. That is the first Enchanted announced in this set.
Oh, is it?
So that's interesting. It happened before Diablo.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So it was like a little bit of a shock, the first thing being a location, but people seem to be quite happy with the visuals of it.
It's very beautiful. Next up, we have Piglet, Sturdy Swordsman. He's a 5-cost, uninkable 3/5 that quests for 3. He is Steel's second legendary this set. He has Resist +1, and he has the ability Not So Small Anymore. While you have no cards in your hand, this character can challenge readied characters.
And he's a cutie. He's making me want to play Steel.
Yeah, this card is super gorgeous. It's another one of those cards like Tiana that is paying off having no cards in your hand. I think the challenge I have with a mechanic like this is often if you have no cards in your hand, you're not really in the best position in Lorcana, especially because your cards are going to be ink and played. So by not having anything in your hand, it really feels like you're at a disadvantage. And I don't think Piglet is necessarily strong enough to justify wanting to empty your hand in order to be able to use him.
But he could be also an answer to an empty hand, right? As long as you have in the deck. But it's an inkable.
And it's hard to just hold him around just in case you run out of cards. I think that there could be a place for him in like as I said, a Tiana aggro deck, maybe.
Or when you fight, you play against Emerald decks and discard decks, right?
Yeah.
It could synergize well with your discard new gameplay now. With
the shift discard.
Shift discard, you could be doing that, getting the advantage of the shift discard, and then getting to that position.
Yeah, I think we want to love this card.
I do.
It's very difficult, but I don't think we'll ever be sad about pulling one of these because it's just amazing.
No, it's beautiful.
Okay, so we have Raya, Unstoppable Force. She is a 7-cost inkable 3/6 that quests for 2. She has Challenger +2. She has Resist +2. And she has the ability, you gave it your best. During your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, you may draw a card. I mean, I struggle a lot with this card just because it's not a Floodborn. So being able to get this out on turn 7 is quite hard. Oftentimes your opponent is going to have ways to answer this card by turn 7, which is a bit of a shame. She has same stat line as Robin Hood, Champion of Sherwood. We saw the last set. So we know she's going to be getting Medusa'd as pretty often. That's true. Although she does give you a card, I'm not sure she'll stick around until the point where she can give you a card. But the fact she has Challenger +2 does mean she is likely going to banish a character. So
and she's a tank, right?
She is a tank.
But again, it takes so long to get to that point, and at that point, you can remove her very easily. Yeah.
Yao. Yeah. Next up, we have Yao, Imperial Soldier. He's a 4-cost inkable 2/5 that quests for 1. And he has Challenger +2. So rounding out more of Steel's Challenger characters like Jafar, like Captain Hook. Maybe he'll see some play. I'm not so sure at the moment. We have Avalanche. This is a 4-cost uninkable action. Deal 1 damage to each opposing character. And you may also banish chosen location. This is interesting. The fact that it's uninkable, I think, is going to be the limiting factor here. Because dealing 1 damage is nice. Being able to banish a location is nice, but you're not going to be able to really have a full set of these in your deck because of the uninkability. The fact you might run into decks where your opponent doesn't have a location, which immediately reduces the value of a card like this. But maybe as a 1-of or a 2-of, it could be interesting. Next up, we have Triton's Decree. This is a 1-cost uninkable action. Each opponent chooses one of their characters and deals 2 damage to them. So I think this is a bit more interesting.
That is super interesting. Again, giving the choice to the opponents. And I like that new strategy. I hope there's more of that.
The fact that it's a 1-cost means that you can try and do other things on your turn before playing this. So it's less bad. But at the same time, it's kind of like fire the cannons, right? Except your opponent gets to choose. I think the only upside is that it is each opponent. So if you're in a multiplayer game, then that's going to be hitting more targets than Fire the Cannons, but in single player, I'm not so sure. Next up, we have Fortisphere. This is a 1-cost inkable item. It has 2 abilities. The first is Resourceful. When you play this item, you may draw a card. And the second is Extract of Steel. Pay 1 and banish this item. Chosen character of yours gains Bodyguard until the start of your next turn. I think paying 1 to draw a card is not a bad thing. The ability to then turn a character into Bodyguard later on is going to be pretty useful as well. Can help you get out of some sticky situations. I think this has potential.
And if you're wondering, this is from the Lorcana universe.
Yes, it's one of those ones.
Yes.
So next we're going to go over to Ariel, Determined Mermaid. This is one of the characters from the starter deck. She's a 3-cost inkable 2/4 that quests for 1. She has the ability I Want More. When you play a song, you may draw a card, then choose and discard a card. So this is an ability we've seen elsewhere in Steel, the ability to kind of filter through your hand, get to the cards you need. This time it's tied to a song, so obviously lots of potential there in Steel song decks. We know there's a Floodborn Ariel this set, who this Ariel can make a very good shift target for. So yeah, I mean, I could see it having play. I think it has potential.
I do think as well, with the big willpower as well.
Yep, exactly.
And she's a princess, obviously.
And she's a princess.
And a hero.
And a hero,
so there's a lot of synergies, yes.
Next up, we have Beast, Thick-Skinned. He's a 3-cost inkable 2/3 who quests for 1, and he has the Resist +1, so damage dealt to this character is reduced by 1. I mean,
okay.
You know what, the one thing I'll say about this character is it's a shift target for Beast Tragic Hero.
But
But
did it work with Morph? I almost feel like people. You see what I mean? How is this different than Morph?
well,
apart
because
from the resist?
Morph locked you to playing an Emerald and Steel. This at least is in the same color as the Beast.
That is true. I'm sorry, that is true.
But I mean, I don't know. I don't see him being played outside of being a shift target for Beast Tragic Hero. The good thing is he does have resist, so it means that it's a little bit trickier to get for your opponent to deal with, because obviously the worst thing would be if you had him as a shift target and then shifted Beast Tragic Hero and he's already got damage on him, because then you're not getting the card draw, but at least he could smash the location. So I don't know. I don't see you play outside of kind of being a shift target.
I just don't. Well, yeah, anyway.
You're bored of Beast cards.
I just don't think this. I don't think I would ever play a card like this. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Beast. Yeah. It's a good job he's thick skinned, so he...
Exactly, he doesn't take that personal. He's still beautiful.
Yeah. Next up, we have Mulan, Armored Fighter, a 4-cost Inkable 3/6 who quests for 1, and she is vanilla. I have a hard time, honestly. I think vanilla cards really struggle unless they have like either something giving them a buff, something that synergizes with them, or them being a shift target. Maybe she'll be a shift target for the legendary Mulan this set, but I mean, I think this is really just going to be used in sealed tournaments. I think it's draft chaff, they call it.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Also from Mulan, we have Li Shang, Imperial Captain, a 5-cost Inkable 5/5 who quests for 2. Like Mulan, another vanilla character. He has the benefit of giving a little bit more lore, but of course, by turn 5, there's so much removal around whether he'll stick to the board for long enough for you to really get much value out of him. I'm not so sure. Next up, we have Mickey Mouse Flag Bearer. He's a 2-cost Inkable 1/3 who quests for 1. And his ability is when you play him, you can give a chosen character Challenger +2 this turn. So he's a little bit like Merlin Crab, except I think not as good.
Exactly.
He's only giving Challenger 2. He has a 2-cost, so he is a bit cheaper to get into play. But yeah, I think having something to buff the strength of steel characters can be good. Obviously, he's part of the starter deck, but we're seeing a lot of kind of things that are rewarding challenging this set, especially in Steel and Ruby. So this is another card that kind of gives you a little bit more oomph when you challenge. It can maybe help you take down an opponent. And then synergizing with something else that kind of rewards that challenge, I think, would be good. Next up, we have Imperial Bow. It's a 2-cost Inkable item. It's part of the starter deck, and it has the ability within range. You can exert this and pay 1. Chosen hero character against Challenger +2 and evasive this turn. It's kind of like Mickey, there to help really make use of challenge of things that reward challenging. The evasive is nice because it helps you deal with evasive threats on your opponent's side, but I don't know, it's kind of like a worse Maui's Fishhook, really. The evasive doesn't carry over. It's specifically for hero characters, so maybe in hero builds it will work, but I don't know, I don't see it being that great.
No. Yeah.
Next up, we have I'll Break What's Demanded, a 4-cost Inkable Song, and you can use this to banish all items. So this was something we mentioned in the previous video.
Excited, yeah.
We were expecting some item removal, especially with the introduction of ward for items. So yeah, here we go. This is Be Prepared, but for items. I think, depending how the meta plays out, this is either going to be a card that sees lots of play, or it's a card that doesn't see any play.
I think it will see play. Do you think there's that risk?
It depends. I think if we see a deck that really doubles down on lots of items, Aurora to give them wards, then you can definitely see it. But I think, maybe one of or two of in a steel deck.
That is true. Yeah, I'm just basing on the championships, right? In the championships, a lot of the decks that were winning were all based on items. It's a Sapphire combination.
The
it
Sapphire
feels very popular at the moment. It's coming back and back. Yeah. This is literally the solution for that. I personally wish I had the solution under Ruby or Amethyst as well. Right now, I'm like, I can't do anything about it. Yes,
changing color.
I have to change colors.
But yeah, and it's great to Louisa. We love Louisa.
Oh, this is amazing. I wish this was an Enchanted, to be honest. And that brings us to an end. Should we put all those cards into the steel tracker?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
And there you go. That is all 204 and many of the Enchanted cards for this set. It was a lot today. This has been a very long video. Thanks for sticking around. Hopefully you enjoyed it.
We're really enjoying this new format.
Yes.
Let us know if you don't. We're happy to switch about before.
To get rid of Matthias.
If you need to take me out of here. I know that I speak a lot, but I appreciate having some time here with you in the channel. We will get to know the latest enchanters, all 18, very soon. I'm thinking the next 2 days probably we'll have the full list.
Yes,
Stick around. We're going to make another video with all 18 enchanters like last time.
Yeah. And stick around to the channel. Hit the subscribe button because we will have all of the URSULA'S return content in release week. So we have plenty of stuff planned for you to hopefully keep you entertained. And until next time, until then.
Thank you so much. Happy questing.
Happy questing.
Bye.